Many Americans, of course, they're furious, right, about the potential of their taxes going up if there's no deal that's reached. Well, there are many lawmakers, too, that understand that frustration. And we're going to talk to Democratic Senator Mary Landrieu, who's joining us from the Capitol. Senator, thank you for being here with us. First of all, you heard Jessica's reporting and Dana's reporting as well. Does that sound like a reasonable compromise, something you could sign on to?
Well, Suzanne, I haven't heard all of the details, but I, for one, have been open, as many of my colleagues on the Democratic side and some on the Republican side, open to a compromise that would reach a balanced approach. And by balanced, we've got to put both new revenues on the table to close the budget gap and some additional spending cuts. One of the things, Suzanne, I wanted to let people know is Democrats have already, over the last year, before this election, put $1.5 trillion of spending cuts in place. What we've been lacking is a partner on the other side that will put revenues on the table. But the good news is I'm glad we're here at work. We need to stay at work and get this done. And the negotiations seem to be moving in the right direction.
And are you satisfied with the president's position here? Because he won and he had a mandate. He said $250,000. Anybody making more than that, they would not have their tax cuts extended. Well, now that has been raised by about $200,000 or so in that income threshold. Do you think that the White House is folded?
Well, I think what the president has done his very best, and he's been very successful to date in protecting middle-class families, because the other side wanted to put all of the burden on the middle class through, terrible cuts to programs that support middle-class families, whether it's deductions for home ownership or deductions for putting your children through college. And that was unfortunate. So the president's done a good job. Everyone's going to have to compromise, including the president. I think he would say he'd prefer 250, but if we have to go to 350 or 400, he wants to solve this. He wants to compromise. But again, we've got to close this deficit, and it's done not just by cutting, but by putting some revenues on the table and asking the wealthiest, which the president has been very good at saying, ask the wealthiest to pay a little more in their fair share.
I know there's another issue that is dear to your heart that we want to discuss as well. It was just last week that the Russian President Vladimir Putin banned all U.S. adoptions, very much a vindictive measure for something that the U.S. had done as well, looking to punish those human rights violators from Russia. You have been very vocal about this. You have 2 adopted children yourself. I understand that you've written a letter to President Putin to try to get him to change his mind. Is there anything that can be done to the nearly 50 pending adoption cases now where American parents have already met what they believe were their Russian children?
I hope so, Suzanne. And as you know, Frank and I have 2 beautiful children that were adopted domestically, but there are over 100,000 adoptions in America every year, mostly by Americans, for American children. We have adopted anywhere from 10 to 20,000 children overseas because Americans believe, and I think most people in the world believe, that children should be raised in families by parents, or at least one responsible adult in a family-like setting. It is grossly unfair, not just to America, but to the children of Russia, for what the Duma did and the president signing a bill that does nothing but harms Russian children who are desperately in need of a family. Domestic adoption is growing in Russia, but not sufficiently to take care of it. So, I've never heard of a country that would use children as a political pawn. I mean, even in the United States' worst days, we don't do that. And so it really is very unfortunate.
All right, Senator, we appreciate your time and your perspective on both these issues.
Thank you.